What up, peeps? Tony Baker here, back with another movie review. This time I'm reviewing Rocketman. It's about Elton John. Elton John, the legend, one of the best-selling music artists of all time, played by Taron Egerton, who you may remember from the Kingsman movies. He was the lead in those. It's about Elton John's life, pretty much. It's not exactly a straight-up, biopic, but it is based on his life. And, the good part is, unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, it's good that Elton's still around to give full input on what's going on in the movie. And, I know the rest of the members of Queen was still around and stuff like that, but, we all know Freddie Mercury wasn't around. And a lot of people are going to compare Rocketman to Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'm going to do that in this review. It's a story, but it starts out Elton as a child, then it goes through a certain part of his life and career and, some of his relationships and stuff like that. And then we just go to, I say it ends, timeline-wise, I say it probably cuts off at like the early 90s. And it opens up with Elton John busting in. He just goes into an AA meeting. And that's where he tells his story, and that's how they present it. Now, Rocketman, unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, is a straight-up musical. While Bohemian Rhapsody had music in it, it still never felt like a musical because they were just showing us the Queen performances from the actual shows. Like, you see them at Live Aid, you see them performing these at gigs and stuff like that. Rocketman, they'll just be talking, having regular conversation, and just burst in the song. Then they out in the streets, full dance numbers, and then they go back like nothing ever happened. That's a musical. I'm not a fan of musicals like that. I'm not a big fan, even though I love Little Shop of Horrors, Blues Brothers. I really enjoyed Dreamgirls, but I'm not a big musical guy. Like, I remember the Grease soundtrack because my mom played the hell out of it growing up. But musicals aren't really my thing, even though Grease is a fantastic, it has a fantastic soundtrack. I still don't consider myself a musical guy like that. I am a fan of Elton John. Benny and the Jets is probably my favorite Elton song. I'm Still Standing. I really love Don't Go Breaking My Heart. There's a reason why he's one of the best-selling musicians of all time. It's good to see that. Taron Egerton's performance is great. It's the best thing about the movie. Bernie Taupin and Bernie Taupin is Elton's writing partner. Like, all the hits that Elton put out, Bernie was writing them all. And so they were a great duo. He's played by Jamie Bell. John Reed is his music manager at one point in time, who's also, his character is also in Bohemian Rhapsody because he worked with Queen too. But now we see a different side of John Reed because John Reed and Elton had a relationship. So they kind of focus on that, and they didn't shy away as much from the homosexuality as they did in Bohemian Rhapsody. And so I applaud them for that. Like, I still feel like, they kind of shied away from it a little bit in Bohemian. I feel like they just went with a straightforward approach here in Rocketman. But I would have preferred a more straight up, music biopic rather than a musical. They had a couple really cool, sequences. Like there's this one where he's in the pool, and it was a really dope visual, how they incorporated the music into that. Really dope visual. I don't know, it was just something that just didn't connect in terms of like story. I don't know, it just, they kind of focused on Elton's parents and his relationship with them. But it was just a disconnect there on, because I felt like his mom was all for him and she was kind of cool, but then at a certain point she wasn't. You saw the rift between him and his dad the whole time, and then it was a moment where he met up with his dad later on. I was like, man, that's got to be tough. But then the relationship with his mom, it felt inconsistent, and I don't know if it was like that in real life. I don't know, but like storytelling wise, I was just like, wait, what? I thought she was. Now it's like, no? Do you have his back or not? I was confused on that. And his mom is played by Dallas Bryce Howard, who's Ron Howard's daughter, who's in like the Jurassic movies and The Village. She did a good job in this as well. But it was just like a disconnect on that side of it. And so, I didn't like how they kind of glazed over the trajectory of his career. They didn't really hit on that as much. They kind of glazed over all the like Billboard awards and like feats he was setting on Billboard. They kind of glazed over everything and didn't really show us the rise. I mean, you saw it, but I didn't feel the rise. You know what I mean? I kind of like straightforward stories about musicians like that, where they show the rise, they show like, hey, we in the studio, we making music, oh, this song is hitting, it's taking us to another level. They just glazed over all of that. They just threw it in there and like some words in the montage, but I feel like they really could have, sat in that a little bit more. Maybe it's just me just looking for just like a straightforward, biopic, and I didn't get that. I feel like it would have been doper just to see him performing within the shows rather than just making it a big musical number. Once you do a musical number, you're taking me out of that world into something else. And now it's like fantasy rather than just, I guess I prefer a more real, grounded musical biopic like Straight Outta Compton or like, Even Ray, like stuff like that where it's just like straightforward. I don't know, man. So I just kind of felt defeated in that sense, kind of disappointed. But the performance was great. Taron did a great job as Elton John. I forgot it was, I really believed he was Elton, but I just feel like I lost some of the connections with, his personal relationships and with the fantasy musical aspect of it. It just didn't mesh well for me, Is it better than Bohemian? I prefer Bohemian. Even though I think I gave Bohemian like maybe 3.5 or 4 on here. I can't remember what I gave it. I prefer Bohemian Rhapsody over Rocketman. I just felt like Bohemian was kind of more straightforward. I really felt like they conveyed a better relationship between Freddie and his bandmates in Bohemian, and I feel like I didn't get that with Rocketman. Even though Bernie and Elton's relationship was kind of cool, I still feel like it was some elements they didn't really show us, so I don't know, man. One element I did like with Rocketman that wasn't in Bohemian is that Taron actually was singing the songs. He was actually performing. He learned the Elton numbers, and he's actually singing within this. And with Bohemian, that was lip sync. And I get it. You're not gonna sing like Freddie Mercury. I feel like it's almost easier to hang with Elton John vocally because Freddie Mercury is probably one of the best vocalists of all time. So if you're an actor, it's just. Even if you could sing a little bit, I would not even venture to tackle Freddie Mercury vocals at any level. I'm just like, I'm not up to par. Because he did an opera album. He sang opera. So it's like, you kind of gotta lip sync Freddie. Elton John, you can work with that. People can come in and work with it, just try to get the pitch down, but you can kind of hang with him vocally on that tip. And so I gotta give props to Taron for even, tackling that. That was dope. But Freddie, man, that's just a whole nother level of vocalism right there. Vocalism, I don't even know if that's a word. Man, but forget all that, man. Y'all want to know the smooth jazz review of Rocketman. Well, here it is. Oh, yeah. I'm giving Rocketman 3 saxophones out of 5. But I'm giving Elton John's music way more saxophones than that. I'm still standing. Even though I'm sitting. Because I'm turning around, I'm rotating in the chair. But I'm still standing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm still standing. Shout out to Elton John, man. Musical. He's a living legend out here. All right, that's my review of Rocketman. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comment section below. Do you want to see it? How does it stack up compared to Bohemian? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know if you like musicals like that. You know what I mean? Other movies to check out, like I mentioned, Bohemian Rhapsody. Check out Ray. Check out Straight Outta Compton, man. Get your musical biopic on. Man, I wish I liked musicals more, but it's just I'm picky with those. My favorite 3 musicals of all time: The Wiz, Blues Brothers, Little Shop of Horrors. Everything else I'm on the fence, man. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, we out here.